It is Saturday Night Data Party. Tonight, we are going to dig into some Twitter data around a popular conspiracy theory around the current pandemic. There's a lot of stupid stuff being said about the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the most stupid things that I've read so far is that this is a New World Order conspiracy theory to have random people take over the world, and George Soros and Bill Gates implant mind control and spread the disease with 5G wireless towers. So much stupid stuff. But one of the questions that people have, that I have, about what's going on is this being fed at all? Are there bots at work that are reinforcing this incredible stupidity instead of just letting it fizzle out? So let's dig into this. I have here, and this is the R Tweet library, which is a fantastic library for R Studio and the R programming language, and one by Michael Kearney called Tweetbot or Not. So our first step, and I've done some of this because it takes a while, is to pull in tweets using the hashtag Plandemic. And we have a limit of 5,000 of them. Let's just go ahead and dig in real quick. You can see the various bits of data and what's being said, and yeah, whatever. So we've got the data. The next thing we're going to want to do is take this Twitter data and we're going to split it into two pieces. We're going to split it into in-network graph theories, this idea of nodes and edges. A node is a person, an entity, and an edge is a connection between two or more nodes. And what we want to do is try and identify patterns in the data. Now, the edges are pretty easy. We've gone through and extracted them, and you'll see, in fact, I'll bring this up here. This is what an edge map looks like, right? You have people, one column which is a source, and another column which is a target, the people that are being tagged or referenced or replied to in tweets. The part that's really interesting is, and actually I should bring up the nodes so you can see what the nodes look like too. The nodes are, of course, things like the ID, user ID, the followers count, engagements, engagement rate, things like that. Pretty stock stuff. By the way, if you're here watching, comment and say hi, because otherwise I literally have no idea that you're here. The Bot or Not library is one of my favorite libraries because it gives us, it uses a very basic machine learning model to look at a user's, the last 100 tweets by that user, and then based on patterns of things like repetition and stuff, assign that user a score, the probability that they are a bot, from 0 to 1, and with decimals in between. And we have their user IDs and we have their screen names. So it can only do 180 every 15 minutes, I believe, is the Twitter rate API rate limit. So in this case, we have a lot, and had I thought about doing this prior to today, I probably would have gone through and extracted over time, those 3,580. So we're just going to do a sample of them. So we've got the sample table here, which is screen name, user ID, and probability that they're a bot. Let's take that table and just filter it down. We want just the screen name and probability that they're a bot. Okay. Looking good there. Now we want to merge this back into our nodes. So let's take our full nodes equals, what do we want to do here? I want to do a left join on nodes, and then our clean bot table, and we're going to join on nodes is ID, and our clean bot table is screen name. And we should have, so nodes should still have the same, 3,520 observations of certain variables, 3,520 of 8 variables. Great. Okay, that looks good. So let's write that out. Okay, now just a quick double check. We have probability of a bot. Okay. You know, that's an NA. Those things that are showing up as NAs are going to be problematic. Let's clean that up. I want to do that in ProbBot. Now replace that with a 0, I believe is the syntax. Let me just double check that. Data, replace. Let's give that a go, see if it spits up. Let's not. You know what? I'm going to just do this the old-fashioned way for this and figure that out later. And the old-fashioned way is to take that NA and replace it with a 0. Kids don't do this at home in production software. All right. So now we've got ourselves a node list and an edge list. What we need to do is now switch to graphing software. And graphing software, specifically, you're talking about network graphing software. This is an open source package called Gephi. Gephi allows you to bring in those two styles of file that we just created, the nodes and the edges. And let's go ahead and get our edges in first. So what these are is, again, every interaction between these one Twitter account and another. We have 4,500 interactions. Interesting. Okay. And then we will bring in our nodes. And just double check that our probability bot, that's a double. It's come in as a double. Okay. Append this here. Okay, great. Now we can start mapping this out. So we see we've got our accounts there. Let's get our interface tidied up here. Now we want to start running some network diagnostics to understand this table. So the average degree is essentially degrees of separation. We want to do a modularity run to understand how things cluster together. Whole bunch of nothing there. And our eigenvector centrality measure. Well, this is our measure of distance between nodes. Now for the colors, I want to partition, and I want to partition on probability of bot or not. I'm going to have... do I want to partition on ranking? I think I want ranking. Yeah, let's do ranking. And our color scheme, let's do green for one end, yellow in the middle, and fire engine red. Let's apply this. So there we can see some of those likely bots in our mix. And now let's rank these by importance. And finally, let's go back in and change our ID to label and start appending some of these labels. And label size should be the size of the nodes. Go to Force Atlas 2, which is my favorite visualization for this. Start with a 1, start with stronger gravity to begin with, and then run this and see what happens. And now okay, that's gotten some order to it. Let's explode it. Again, if you are watching and you want to say hi, please leave a comment. Otherwise, I literally have no idea that you're there. What the software is doing now is essentially trying to force these individual nodes into some kind of order where we can expose the network underneath. And eigencentrality is a good measure of what I think of as influence, in the sense that it measures who does not who is the most talkative, but who is most talked about in any environment. I do this a lot for like trade shows. If I want to understand who are the most prominent speakers at a trade show. In this case, what you see here, and this is really interesting to me, is there are certainly the normal people you expect to see, right? There are these big nodes, but remember those bot nodes that we flagged? We just did a sample of 180 out of 3,000. And you can see there are some of these nodes that are high spreaders. They're not influential. No one's talking to about the bot, but the bots are helping amplify different groups in the network. And so if this was something that I was investigating for like criminal research, this would be super useful to have. You'd want to identify and score all of the original accounts, not just the 180 sample, but all of them, and figure out just how bad is the bot problem in this particular topic. And once you do that, then you get a sense of, is this real or is this astroturfed? Meaning that it's fully bot supported. And if that's the case, then who's running the bot networks? Right? Who is behind the bots? Now, with this information, you could actually go and start looking at those accounts and seeing what else do those accounts tweet about and stuff like that. Twitter is my favorite social network by far because the data is publicly available for the most part, and we can get a look at the interactions between things. And it is one of the reasons why influencer marketing measures are vastly overweight on Twitter, because that's the data source that everyone can see, compared to Facebook, which is notorious for not releasing any of its data. But now we're at a point where if you wanted to dismantle this, it would be trivial to go back to that list of essentially bot handles, look at them and report them, right? Because bots are prohibited by Twitter's terms of service, by Twitter's terms of use. So if you went in and picked something that was clearly not in the best interests of the general public, namely people who are foisting this conspiracy theory that the COVID-19 pandemic is somehow a planned global new world order, whatever, you could go in and take some of the support away from it by reporting those bot accounts. Now, the bot creators, of course, will create new ones. That's the ongoing struggle. But think about this for any topic where you might have a problem. And if you are a public relations professional, if you are a marketing communications professional, you'd better be doing this if you are doing crisis communications, because you want to know, is my crisis real or is my crisis astroturfed? Is somebody working to sabotage my brand? For like larger brands, is someone working to sabotage my brand when I've done nothing wrong? Now, if you have done something wrong, that's pretty self-evident. You need to fix that. If you are a political campaign, this would be super helpful to do, right? To understand your supporters and your detractors and be able to take those apart and figure out, again, how much is artificial. We're not talking about trying to change minds of anybody else. We're not trying to do anything nefarious. We are literally trying to help, in this case, Twitter, enforce the terms of service on its own network. And if you are digging into a specific topic, whatever it is, use tools and technologies like this. So that's tonight's Saturday Night Data Party. There's a lot in here. There's a lot to helping social networks by reporting obvious violations of the terms of service, right? Again, we're not talking about taking a political stand. We're talking about taking out the garbage, right? So if you have questions about this sort of thing, this is of interest to you, go ahead and go over to trustinsights.ai/analytics for marketers. It's our free Slack group, and ask those questions. Love to chat with you about them and see what you think. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.